you take one look at these things, you think, how on earth will I be able to do this? Like, look at it. It looks too gosh darn complicated. But, however, after some big brain thinking, I've managed to somehow find a way that I was going to make this. I had no idea if it was going to work or not, but I had a plan and I was going to execute this plan. Now, originally I was going to go with Virgil, mainly because at the time I had recently gotten my hair dyed and movie Virgil had blonde tips / highlights, whatever you want to call it. So in a way I kind of wanted to go in that direction, and I already had some stuff that I could use for a suit that I found at my grandmother's, so I thought that was going to be useful. Then, like, seriously, I kid you not, movie Virgil is the only other reason why I dyed my hair in the first place, other than the fact that my sister wanted me to change up my hair anyway. So yeah, this movie is a bad influence on me, I swear. Option 2 was going to be John, mainly because he's my favourite, especially this version. But honestly, I was just so tossed up with who to choose. I didn't think much of him or Alan and Gordon, so in the end I chose Scott. The only other reason why I chose it is because the suit was blue. Blue's my favourite colour. So in the end, I really just went for the colour instead of the character. So yeah, that was an easy decision on that part. Once the said plan was in mind, I went on Google searching and I managed to find a base suit. It was a Stig costume from Top Gear actually, but because of the general shape and look of the movie suits, it actually kind of worked out well for this. So I ordered that off Amazon. It was actually really expensive for it, but again, costumes are. It was like $60. I think that was including delivery. And in terms of the trim as well, I was just going to use like fabric that I would find at my grandma's, because she is an absolute hoarder and has so much shit in her house. But she actually suggested on using ribbon, so I took on that suggestion when I was going shopping for this. So pretty much once the suit came in, I basically had to make a lot of adjustments, as will the following clip shall explain. So this is what we have to work with. I mean, as you can see, it fits pretty well, although this is a men's size medium. There had no smalls. So, first of all, before I do any of the fun stuff, and so I need to take it in. So probably take it in about the sides. I may need to fix the legs part of it, but it's mostly going to get tucked into the boots anyway, so I don't think that really is going to matter so much. So then take it in, I am able to easily cut these parts off. So we'll remove these, cut them off, cut off the sleeve cuffs, and also because it's elastic. The sleeves, as you can see, we need to take them in. So essentially, what we need to do is take it in, remove the black, cover up the massive logo that's on the back, but that's going to be easy, and then add all the trims and shit. Forgot to add that, obviously this is going to get covered up, we need to cover up this, but that's going to be fine, because that's where the main belt part is going to be, so that's going to be that. This was choking me. I need to continue. Let's get started. Originally, I started working on this during my advanced diploma, where I was meant to finish the course in November of 2021. The idea was to make it for the month and then go to Comic-Con for the first time. However, due to the goddamn lockdowns of my state, my course got pushed back out, which meant I had to pause the project because November was when we had to shoot our films. And in the end, I never went to Comic-Con that year. I sold my ticket to a friend and worked on the suit in 2022 and wore it to Supernova, which I went with the usual gang as well as my then boyfriend. So this is what it looks like after cutting it. It has left a little bit of a line, but I'm honestly not too fussed, especially with up here because that's going to get covered. I might just trim this down a bit more, and the back is also pretty much the same. Sleeves, which was a fucking nightmare. I will rehem these. I need to probably take in the sleeve just to make it fit along my arm, but both of them are now removed, the elastic and the black, which was annoying, and now It's time to fix up these Velcro straps because all there is that's coming in is these tiny little squares, and as you could see, it literally pokes through. So I'm basically going to line with some of this, and it's just a stick-on thing. So what we're going to do, just if I open this, put some Velcro on, and hopefully that's going to be a lot more secure. Now originally the suit had a zipper. I'm way too lazy for zippers. Also, I'm not really the sewing person, and apparently our sewing machine is busted, so we're going to improvise. But I mean, I think this will just do just as fine as zippers. So yeah. I started working on the shoulder pads things first, so I just traced the pattern out on a piece of paper, readjusted my lines a bit to make it curve more along the shoulder. So I cut that out and then just was kind of seeing the placement on the actual suit, and then it was time to actually literally try and fix the suit. So this took the longest, I reckon. I was just standing inside my wardrobe in front of the mirror, just literally pulling, tugging, pinning it all in place, just trying to make it fold, like just to pretty much just take it into how it needed to be taken in. And then I moved on then to the sleeves once that was done. So I just folded that down, pinned it all in place. I never actually ended up sewing this. Then I did the same thing with the sleeve ends, just to hem it. Yeah, so I didn't exactly plan this out the best because we're in our fucking lockdown still. So that means Spotlight, my plan A, is closed. And I can't go inside, I can only get click and collect, but fuck that, I need to go in and see everything. So my only options are the supermarket or the reject shop, which is essentially a glorified $2 shop. So that's our goal, plus I have to do some other things because bleh. Also because my mother told me to, so this is going to be fun. But yes. And also I do need to get some fabric to do those letters on the arm. But haven't really figured that part out yet, so we're not sure how we're going to do that there, but we'll figure something out. Hopefully we can find what we want, because fucking hell, we need to. Okay, so this is difficult with one hand. We've had success. Stocked up on our ribbon. As you can see, I got a fair bit. And it turns out we only had 2 glue gun sticks left, so I brought 2 packs. It's fucking cheap! So to make the name tags, I pulled out my old computer, went onto Illustrator, which was somehow still apparently under my uni account, even after finishing uni 6 months later. Anywho, I pulled out Illustrator, I found the font on the internet after consulting Discord, and I basically just traced over the letters to make the badge and the name tags, pretty much. Got the colour correct, printed it out on paper, glued it onto cardboard. In this case it was the leftover taco box from the other night, and just covered it up with paper. I'm literally watching through this, I'm thinking this is taking too long. The badge. The badge, I pretty much had the image saved, and again, pretty much the same process in Illustrator, changed the colour, printed it out, glued it on cardboard. I actually had to do this a couple of times because I got myself confused, basically. So yeah, and you'll find out in a moment as to why there is more than one cardboard piece on my desk. And yes, that is a Brains Funko Pop. Yes, I kind of got so, like, trigger happy, if you will, and I kind of just printed them all out because I was like, oh, I can actually do them all now. I haven't done so yet. I don't know yet. I don't know what I'm saying. I got so happy doing these that I was just doing it after work. So after managing to clean up the mess in my room after that ordeal, I went back to the suit, sewing in the pins, sewing the stuff in place. God, I can't speak. That actually turned out quite well. Anywho, moved on to the shoulder pad things, and before you ask, that is the boys' YouTube that I was watching. I cut out 3 layers of fabric because it needed to not be see-through, and then layered it all together and spilt the glue and made an absolute mess trying to glue these 3 pieces all together. And that is so out of frame. Oh, tell me with this next clip and see if this is genius or not. So, I needed a way to dry my shoulder pad things, and since it's hot today and I glued them together, hang them on the clothesline. And hopefully these bad boys should be dry in no time. I'm pretty sure this stuff was filmed in like February, March, so it was like the end of summer, early autumn, so it was still quite warm outside. So those things dried in no time. Once they were dried, I trimmed off all the edges just to make it look neat, and it was honestly a bit messy with my cutting. Then it was time to hot glue all that ribbon on. I pretty much just went around each edge, hot gluing, then pressing down all that ribbon. Oh my god, it was really starting to come to life at this part, I tell ya. Then I cut out 2 little strips just to make that little inner T thing. And yeah, that was one, and pretty much same process with the other. I probably burnt my fingers so many times doing this. And then it was time for the belt. I pretty much laid out the fabric. I had enough space to do so. I ruled out a really big line. And what am I doing here? I'm doing this blindly, by the way, guys, so I'm just... Okay, cutting. So I cut out a really long strip. I honestly judged the size of my waist, so I just cut out a really long strip, tried it on me, cut out some more layers, so that way it was the same process as the shoulder pad things. Laid out some paper before my dad killed me if I got glue on the floor. And this time I, glued it all down again, pretty much. I didn't make a mess this time, actually. I didn't spill it everywhere, but I'm glad I laid down the paper, as you can see. Did the clothesline trick again, dried in no time, trimmed it down, trimmed the curvy edge bit, and did some more hot gluing. You don't really see it in this clip, but in further clips you'll kind of see that I misjudged the size of the belt, but honestly it's fine, it was an easy enough fix anyway. So now it was time for me to actually try and cover up the back logo. It does look jarring with the fabric difference, but honestly it was fine. So pretty much what I did was I just laid out, I think it was again like 3 or 4 layers of fabric, cut it to fit the shape of the suit, so like the shoulder parts, so that way it would actually look like it would blend in. I put the belt there so that way it could get sewn underneath, and then once that was all pinned down, I sewed it all together with actual success. I'm surprised this actually ended up working, actually. And did the thread... Oh yeah, the thread ran out, so I had to get my sister to fix the damn thing for me. And then I just continued to sew it along to my heart's content to actually get this to work. And then it was time to work on the trim. I gave myself a head start on this because I honestly couldn't hold myself back. So I started on the top part, threaded it all up, did it around the collar. I honestly had to keep pulling up reference photos because I've drawn this uniform like 1,000 times, I feel like, but I kept forgetting where everything was. Like I felt like I was missing pieces of where the trim would go. So I constantly was looking at the photos. So I had my laptop open, honestly. So what is going on here? Oh yes, the sleeves. I did the sleeves as well. Did that little loopy thing so that where it's actually meant to like close there, but we're DIYing this. So there was the sleeves. That was again out of frame. And then actually this was a good advantage. The black trim was exactly where it needed to be for the blue one. So I just used that as a guide to cover it up. Okay, so this is what we've got so far. So I've done the sleeves. I've done one side of that I did a bit earlier. And I've done the other sleeve. So it is coming along. I'm honestly so happy this is working out fucking better than I expected.
for at least my standards. So yeah, just got to keep going with the trim for God who knows how long. And it's going to take a long time because it's really fucking hot right now. So yeah, let's continue.
So this was the part where I realised that the belt was too big. I first of all put the Velcro on the wrong way, and then when I fixed that, I realised the belt was too big. So I kind of just had to fold it up and then make it a bit shorter to make it sit right. And then it was time to start doing the rest of the trim. So using the thick roll of ribbon. My God, I can't speak right now. I just basically hot glued the whole dang thing in one big long strip along the edge, and same with the other side. I'm pretty sure I used up the entire roll of it. I think it was like a 2 meter long roll, so glad that was enough. And then it was time to glue on the shoulder pad things. So I basically just positioned and hot glued together. I kind of eyeballed it as well, realizing that didn't work because when I looked at it once it was done, I realized it wasn't sitting in the same position. So I had to tear up one of them and kind of readjust that positioning. So basically for the letters part, I ended up just using the leftover strips of ribbon, cutting out all the letters, kind of positioning it. I positioned the letters out with pins first, and then I just kind of readjusted the ribbon to make it turn into the letters, which actually from this distance it turned out quite well. However, on the day it was kind of just fraying by the end of it, so next time definitely use something else. So I decided to go all out with this, and with that I wanted to use one of the details that I honestly really love about this movie in terms of like what they wore and all that. The necklaces. I'm not sure if any of you have like kind of picked up on the details of that, but they all have like different ones. Like Virgil's got the shark tooth, John's got the beads, if you can actually tell in that pool scene. Anywho, Scott's got this like surfboardy shaped one that I honestly really like, and I wear string necklaces all the time, so I was like, oh, perfect, let's do that. So I cut out the shape on a piece of paper to make it like kind of fit with me, kind of just judging by it. Then I went down to the shed to consult my lovely father to ask him to go cut out this shape on a piece of like, I'm pretty sure he used plywood, whatever scraps he had left. My dad's a tradie, he's got heaps of this shit. And then I asked him to cut out another shape for those earpieces as well. Spoiler alert, I never ended up finishing the earpiece. I kind of ran out of time because, again, I was on a time crunch again. So pretty much once I got the necklace shape back, I went back up to my desk, and while FaceTiming my boyfriend, I painted it all up. Luckily for me, I had plenty of paint, so I just covered that up with the colour, and then just using a cotton bud, I did the dots, the details of it as well. And then I actually found a piece of string in the drawers on my desk, so it was pink though, so I literally just painted the piece of string because I was like, this string's more perfect than the other piece of string that I had. So that was that. So once everything was done, it had come to the night before supernova, and I still really wanted to make the gloves, or at least attempt to make them. So while I had my boyfriend over, because he was staying with me the night before, he tried to help me make them, but it honestly was just way too complicated. Like with the way that it just wasn't going to work. Like he tried to think of a solution that he got from work, so it ended up just not working out in the end. So I kind of just ditched the idea and just. This was like also 10 o'clock at night, I reckon, so it was getting late. We had to wake up at 6 o'clock the next day, so we just called it a night and literally just went to sleep. And 6 a.m. the next day. So while I'm getting ready in this clip, I should probably mention that the undershirt I got was just a t-shirt from Kmart, and with the boots for this one, I just wore my black dot muns. Kind of regretted that decision towards the end of the day because my feet were aching so bad. My Toz boots were more comfortable than this. Anywho, oh yes, when we were both getting ready, because the boyfriend was with me the night before, he was struggling to get into his Spider-Man suit because he was doing Spider-Man. It literally took us like the both of us to try and pull that zipper up. And honestly, once he was stuck in that suit, he wasn't coming out of it. And not gonna lie, it was kind of entertaining to try and get him into the suit. Anyway, here is the final reveal. Honestly, I am actually so proud of myself for actually making this work. It honestly turned out a lot better than I expected. And yes, in these images, the sunglasses were entirely necessary. Turns out I actually have a blue pair of aviators, so I was like, you know what, it's sunny, so I'm going to add that to it. I also just want to quickly mention that I ended up re-wearing this suit later on in the year to PAX, which is a gaming convention that my boyfriend wanted to go to, so I wore it then. Kind of got a bit of orange staining on it because he was playing Ahsoka, so he had body paint transferring everywhere. So yeah. I should probably mention the rest of the gang that had joined us on this trip. We had Trinity from The Matrix, another version of the Joker, a Beetlejuice, and a couple of Sims. And then, of course, me, the Thunderbird, and then the Spider-Man. Supernova was a blast as always. No, unfortunately, no one knew who I was during them, but that's okay. It's honestly not that surprising. Yeah, it was honestly quite enjoyable. It also felt quite funny just imagining just like a Thunderbird and a Spider-Man just walking around together holding hands. He was actually being so lovely. He carried my backpack on around the whole day. He was just being such a gentleman, I think. Oh yeah, afterwards when we got home, BF and I literally did a Macca's run and just sat in the front of the TV watching Man of Steel because it was on until I fell asleep. So, and I distinctly remember this. He carried me to bed at the end of the night, so I'd say that night was very well worth it. So yes, thank you for sitting through this big monstrosity of a little bit of a mess. Let me know if anyone else has actually tried to do like a 2004 cosplay. I'm literally curious because all throughout editing this, I'm thinking, am I the only one who's actually done this? Just let me know if anyone has because I'm honestly just curious. And yeah, I will see you guys next time.